Hey guys, I just wanted to do my review of Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. Now, given the finale of this Flash Season 2, I figured I wanted to watch this movie in preparation for Flash Season 3, see how this is going to be adopted into that season. I also figured it would be pretty cool to give you my thoughts about it and also recommend it as a great watch in preparation for that season. So, it opens up with, Barry's mom getting murdered, although, unlike the comic book and the TV show, it doesn't reveal the circumstances of how she was murdered. It does not reveal what happened to Henry Allen. It just kind of jumps forward in time to Barry in his adulthood and how he's still haunted by the death, and he's led into a trap set by the Rogue at the Flash Museum, which includes Captains Cold, Boomerang, Mirror Master, Heatwave, and the Top. And they've all been tricked and recruited by the Reverse Flash into being essentially like human, all of them being rigged with bombs as part of a plot to destroy Central City and spite the Flash. But luckily, Barry's able to call the Justice League to help him disarm the bombs and bring all the villains into custody, with the Reverse Flash making a taunt about Barry's mom's murder. And it's the last scene is him running. I guess Barry running so fast he presumably goes back in time before it jumps to the title sequence, and then next thing you know, Barry wakes up at his desk at the CCPD. And throughout the movie, he learns how his mom's still alive. He no longer has his powers. Captain Cold has now become Citizen Cold, who's basically this brutal vigilante in Central City. And he also learns how Bruce Wayne was murdered in the alley instead of his parents, and his father has become Batman, in which the difference between this version of Batman, he resorts to using guns and actually kills the villains he goes after, and how there's this war between Amazons and Atlanteans in a failed attempt at an allegiance between the two kingdoms. Aquaman and Wonder Woman had an affair. Mira caught them. Mira tried to kill Wonder Woman because of it, but Wonder Woman ended up killing Mira, and it led to Aquaman declaring war on Themyscira, and the two nations, for lack of better terms, end up destroying Western Europe and taking over different countries and regions throughout the world, and basically killing millions of people and leading the human race on the brink of extinction. And so the Flash has to recruit Batman and Cyborg, who's working with the U.S. government to try to form a resistance of heroes in order to stop the two sides and prevent both Amazons and Atlanteans from destroying the world. And the Flash has to find a way to regain his powers and figure out to undo the damage to the timeline and essentially save the world. Now, I gotta say, this is definitely one of the most... This is rated PG-13. This is probably one of the most, dark, graphic, intense violence I've seen in a movie, at least for, a PG-13 animated movie. It's over the top, it's brutal, I definitely want to recommend this for kids, and they don't hold back with the... it's a little bit somewhat gory, and it definitely doesn't hold back with the violence. And even though it's titled Justice League, it definitely focuses. It's definitely still a Flash movie first and foremost, and with other quote unquote Justice League members as supporting characters, as opposed to Captain America: Civil War, in which it just felt more like an Avengers movie. But in any case, he's basically the central character. He's a pivotal character. He's the one who has to realize what his mom said about accepting the things you cannot change, and learning to change, having the courage to change the things you can, and knowing the wisdom to know the difference between both, in spite of his powers. And it was I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie. Like, it did not hold back. It was, I mean, it was dark, but not like gloomy dark as Snyder's DC movies, and they had like some interesting character moments as Cyborg kind of being like the Boy Scout and being the righteous one and trying to be the moral compass for the little team they're establishing, and of course Batman being like being the cynic to being the cynical, brutal one, as opposed to being as well as Cyborg being more idealistic, kind of black and white hero, and it's kind of having a similar dynamic to how Batman and Superman have in the regular universe. And it also got this cool to see like other characters show up. I got like cameos from Steve Trevor and Deathstroke, and Lois Lane as like this being like the badass she is, like being on the scene, being in the thick of the action, to not only being a reporter but also just being part of the resistance led by like Drifter and Estrogen. I think trying to say estrogen. Well, I guess it sounds similar. And also just being this gun-toting resistance member, and they did not hold back with the violence, but I mean, it could be a little bit distracting and maybe a little too much for some people, but I just thought it added to the tension and the stakes of this whole story, even though you knew the end result is Barry was going to meet his goals trying to change the timeline back. Now, there were like a few minor differences in this movie than from the comic book. Aside from not having any mention of Henry Allen, they also don't say who that Reverse Flash was Nora Allen's killer. And I think they don't have like Element Woman featured in this. They don't mention focus much on like other characters who were changed throughout the DC universe. Like, they don't focus much on like Citizen Cold or Heatwave or basically Green Arrow, just because like I said, this is the Flash's movie first and foremost. But I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I won't spoil too much either. I just want to say, just go and watch this film. It is definitely one of the best of the DC like animated films from Bruce Timm and company, and definitely if you want to get prepped for the Flash season 3, it definitely gives you a lot of speculation as to what at least personally for me, what I think the directions that the show can go, and it has some ideas spinning in your head of what kind of stuff they can do with that. Now, personally, because they can't have include a lot of the Justice League members, here's how I think it would go down. That obviously they could have Robert Queen have his version of the Arrow fill in the Batman role, given they have this whole Batman Superman dynamic between Barry Allen and Green Arrow anyway. And they can also maybe feature, instead of Amazonians and Atlantis, maybe it could focus on, I don't know, maybe even somehow like Vandal Savage's forces and the Thanagarians, because of the fact that because the Flash on the show, because he goes back and stops Eobard Thawne from killing his mom, then it would have followed the original timeline in which Barry has not become the Flash until 2020. So, I don't know. Maybe Leonard Snart would still be like a petty thief. Because the Flash doesn't become a hero this time, that somehow maybe Central Cities could still be destroyed, because he played a role in stopping Captain Boomerang from destroying Star City with those bombs in Season 3, and also from helping Team Arrow escape from Nanda Parbat to help Oliver stop Ra's al Ghul from destroying Central City at the end of Season 3. But then does cause like a little continuity error, in which apparently in the original timeline, he was still fighting alongside Green Arrow and Hawkgirl and the Atom in 2024, which led to that battle and that newspaper mention in which both the Flash and the Reverse Flash first went back in time and created this alternate timeline for the Arrowverse. So it'll be interesting, but obviously he's going to need a reason to reverse the damage, so maybe Star City's destroyed as a result of that, and so nobody's around to resurrect Sarah after she's killed by Malcolm Merlyn, and nobody, and so that's because Sarah's not resurrected, and Captain Cold and Heatwave don't get their guns, then, and Adam's probably killed along with the rest of Team Arrow or executed in Nanda Parbat. That's fewer people that Rip Hunter could recruit for Legends of Tomorrow, and that can have untold damage to the timeline. Maybe that could lead to, I don't know, maybe Vandal Savage's forces somehow taking over the world earlier and fighting against the Thanagarians, just because of the fact that who knows how the Time Masters could be furthering manipulating time, so they don't have like all these same people to manipulate as pawns as they did on Season 1 of Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, and you know, for the Iris West, since she is like the lowest lane of the Flash's side of the universe, then maybe she could be the part of the Resistance, be kind of this gun-toting badass reporter and part of the Resistance too. And I don't know. They also had in this movie they had Iris married with a kid, and I don't know, maybe Cisco and Caitlin get married with a kid. Actually, I don't know about that one, but or maybe they can also be helping Barry in this new timeline along with the original Harrison Wells, since Eobard Thawne didn't have a reason to kill him and steal his identity in this timeline. But then again, this is the thing that never made sense to me in the first season of The Flash, because in the comic books, Reverse Flash knew that he couldn't exist if the Flash didn't exist. So if he went back in time and actually succeeded in killing Barry, or actually, no, I don't want to even think about this. Actually, that's the part I shouldn't really think about too much. It's gonna make my head spin. But anyway, like I said, it's a great, you know, if you love the comic book, you'll love this movie. If you're a DC fan, you'll love this movie. If you're a fan of The Flash at all, you'll love this movie, and maybe we'll give you some ideas of what, and some theories of what to expect for the Flashpoint version on the TV show. So, what are your theories about The Flash Season 3 after the end of the show? How do you feel about, if you've seen the movie, how do you feel about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.